Guys, welcome back to my channel. We have a special 250 here, and we have the owner Zerks, right? Zre over here. So Zre just mentioned that this is not the standard 250. I had the assumption that there was one standard 250 that was introduced in India by Kawasaki. Why don't you tell me exactly what 250 this is?
So this is the Ninja 250R. It is basically the race spec of the Kawasaki 250, but built for Indian roads. Absolutely no assists, nothing, completely stock, but still packs a punch for how small the engine actually is. For a 250, she's pretty quick, I must
So
say.
what's the difference between the race one and the standard 250?
So the race one actually has a much higher RPM limit and has a more, like you could say, a lot more torque and a lot more bhp compared to the standard 250 as well. And she sounds a bit different as well, you could say.
Okay.
So should I give her a start?
Yeah, please do that.
From standard, the regular 250 used to come with I think around a 12,000 RPM limit. This one has 14,000.
She sounds amazing. So this one has a 14,000 RPM limit. The standard had a 12,000 RPM limit.
Yes.
How reliable is this in 2024? How old is this bike?
It's actually a 2011
Okay.
250R. So considering reliability, if you know how to maintain your bikes, absolutely zero issues, because even if you service her once a year at about 5,000 kilometers, she'll give you absolutely no issues. The main issue that you might find is trying to find an oil filter for her now, because it's not the standard regular, what do you say, it's like a sieve filter, like a regular sieve filter, but this one is a proper car type oil filter, the one which screws on.
Okay.
So finding one of those in this times is slightly difficult, but if the oil is not very dirty, you can just service her up, clean it up.
How regularly would you need to change the oil filter of us?
The oil filter every about 3 to 5,000 kilometers, depending on how harsh you ride the vehicle as well. If you go for slightly longer rides, the earlier you change it, the better. But if it's slightly city running and stuff, if she gets a little too hot, you can stretch it to about 5,000 kilometers.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, and have you kept spares at your place for the bike?
I actually have an entire exhaust, like I have an extra exhaust at home, the original 250R exhaust that I have.
Okay.
So I have that as standard. The one I've put right now is a standard EX250 exhaust. I haven't put the R exhaust on.
So why wouldn't you have kept the R exhaust on?
So the R exhaust, because of rains, considering it used to be in the open for a bit, the baffles on the inside had actually rusted out.
Okay.
So that was the reason I had to open it up, cut it up and make it up again, but it didn't have the correct sound to it.
Okay.
So I got this from a person in Tamil Nadu actually.
Okay.
I went all the way to Karimotto Studio and I bought it off of him, specifically for this.
And how expensive, just for our understanding?
Just the exhaust, considering it was a second-hand one from a regular 250, I got it for 5,000. Which is still not cheap.
Which is still not bad, 5,000.
It's not bad, but it's not very cheap for a stock exhaust. It's pricey.
But again, the exhaust is pretty simple as per those days.
It's a regular slip-on. You can just put anything on as well. It's just bolted on by 3 bolts. These 2 out here and this one here, and it just slides right off.
Oh, what is
I've actually thought about putting an acro on it, but considering how loud it gets, for a 250 to make that much noise, I don't think it sounds right. Because it's unnecessarily loud at that point for a small bike like this.
Okay, and with reference to reliability, you mentioned it's pretty reliable. How expensive would it be to maintain such a bike in 2024?
In 2024, right now, if I'm not wrong, she takes about 1.5 liters of oil for a 250. That's a lot. And you've got to use one of the Motul ones, the fully synthetic ones. So
Obviously.
that comes up to about 1,375 per liter. And the oil filter itself is another 2,000 if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Which is expensive. So yeah, about maybe in a year or so, including brake pads and everything, you do end up spending about 5,000, 5,000 to 6,000 on it.
Okay.
Which is not exactly very bad. The main issue is the fuel consumption. She's pretty thirsty for a 250.
Oh yeah, how much is that?
On a good day on the highway, I end up getting about 25 to 27, and in the city, it's around 18 to 20.
Okay. ठीक है यार, I mean it's a high revving engine, depends on how you ride as well.
Anything less than 5,000 RPM on this bike is borderline useless.
Okay. Oh, so the RPM, I mean it's apart from, I mean I'm assuming the torque is useful.
The torque starts at around 530. 5,000 RPM. And then you can take it all the way to 14 as well.
Okay, so she's a screamer. She's a
screamer, proper screamer.
Okay. And yeah, actually below 5,000 it's dead.
As I said, she needs to be above 5,000 RPM in order to get the proper kick.
Post 6,000 she's a rocket. But below 5,000 I did this and I'm like, there's nothing. Like literally the Activa has more
power and torque, you could say.
But I mean it's a fun machine, man. It's very manageable as long as you know the RPM thing issue. And unlike the Duke, she does not knock at low RPMs. Even though she has no
Absolutely
power,
not.
She does not knock. You can still manage to plow through. I think the only issue with this bike was it was a direct import.
Yep.
I remember it was 3.5 lakhs or something when it was
in 2011 it was about 3.54 lakhs.
The Pulsar 220 was 89,000. This was 3 lakhs or something. It was literally 4 times more expensive than the next best option. So it was just priced wrong, and it was a good product. I mean, it was manufactured in India. I'm pretty sure, like the Ninja 300 is manufactured in India, right? And right now they're still selling it at 3.5-4 lakhs or something like that, which
around
is still okay. But if this was manufactured in India, sold at 1.5 lakhs at that time, I think this would have been amazing.
They would have been sold like hotcakes back then.
Would have been, could have been, but then Kawasaki had other plans with us. But yes, chalo, let's continue the round. And how much did you get the bike for to begin with?
So we bought this off of a guy. It was actually crashed back in 2015.
Okay.
So we bought it as an accidental bike, got the fairings and everything changed. So the fairings itself right now will cost you up to about 8,000 for just one side.
Okay. Thank you for watching part 1 of the ownership experience of the Ninja 250R. Stay tuned for part 2.